Okay. Hey guys, it is Chris here, and I am here for my last layout for the 90-day scrapbooking boot camp. Sorry, the streaming key was not working there, so I am a minute and a half late. I'm not really sure what that was about, but that's okay. We're here now, and we're going to put together the last of my 3 layouts. So as you remember, when we started this whole thing, 90 days, we were, there's 4 CAP instructors. So we each taught 3 layouts. And this, if you actually purchase the PDF tutorials from one of the coaches, this was actually my first layout in the PDF. But because it's a little bit more complicated, and we're going to add an interactive element, which is optional, and it even says that in the PDF, I decided to save this for last because I didn't want to intimidate anybody and not have you at least try it. And so I'm going to add my desk in here. I'm going to show you the finished layout without my photos on it, and then we're going to get to work assembling it. So just give me a second here. I'm actually going to turn up another light, and here we go. So this is what we're actually putting together today. We'll add some light on that side too. Okay, if you guys have questions, just so you know, hey, Kathy's here. I get a huge lag when we have to stream this way. So I'm going to try and in the corner watch for questions and all of those fun things. But for sure, sometimes I'll miss them. But I promise I'll come back and address them later if there are questions. But I think by the time we are done everything, nobody should have any questions. But so this is my layout called Miles of Smiles. And like I said in the description, there's a little interactive element, and it's small, and you can do it or not do it. So there's a little journaling box here, and I put one of the tags behind the journaling box, and you can pull it out. So at the very end, I am going to show you how to alter the page protector, which is super easy, especially for a simple element like this. But if you don't want to do that, then just when we get to this part, just adhere this tag down flat and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so the other thing is today we're going to use photographs from a different trip. Hey, Debbie, because you guys know the first 2 layouts that I did, right? I used my trip from last year to London with my sister and my mom. Well, we just returned, my husband and I, from the Stampin Up incentive trip. And so when I pulled out this layout and got to ready to create it today, I thought, hey, I'm going to use recent photos. So that's the other thing to remember, is that even though like the 3 layouts coordinate, they don't necessarily have to be the same trip. And sometimes it is fun to not necessarily always be working backwards, but sometimes if you throw something like relatively recent in there, sometimes that's a good way to get the juices flowing and maybe back into scrapbooking again if you have set it aside or not done it in a while. So that is just one thing. And Marilyn is here. That I would say too is that it is you don't have to do scrapbooking in any sort of order. It's your scrapbook. You get to do it any sort of order you want. But so when I saw these fun tags, and of course you're probably going to guess this is the first layout I designed when we started boot camp, because all the colors were just so fun to me, and I loved this sheet with the tags, and so I thought it would make a fun place to put my title. So the title I did do on this layout is Miles of Smiles, because I thought that was kind of like a fun play on travel, right? And we've got all the fun colors. And then there's another little collage over here of some more of the tags. And on here, I've got 3 full-size photographs and 2 3x4s. I really like a 3x4 because it's the same aspect ratio as a regular photograph. So you can print 2 of these on a 4x6, but it's also not a bad photograph size to crop from a 4x6. But so I'll show you my photos that we're going to add today. I have my little pieces all set up. So, and then this is for my interactive component. And like I said, it's totally optional, but you can do it in lots of different ways. And so I thought I would just show you a fun, simple, easy way to do it. So we are going to do our first day in one of the Disney parks from, like I said, from our most recent trip. And obviously that was Pooh and Eeyore, and then my husband and I, as we were going into, where were we going? Epcot. Holy smokes. Okay, that's for my page protector. Got some dimensionals, and then here are my other 2 photos that are going to go on our right-hand side. Right, so I do have my photographs already matted on my photo mats. So you guys know, oh, and then this is the little photo I'm going to put in as my interactive element. It's just me and Eeyore. So I always joke because one of my doodles reminds me of Eeyore. He always walks with his head down and kind of his tail between his legs. And so I actually was telling Eeyore that story when we were getting our photograph taken, and he turned around and showed me that he still had his tail on today, because sometimes he loses it. Hey, Judy. Ooh. Judy's getting photos from her family's adventure in Disneyland this week. So maybe you could scrapbook some of your family on here. Okay, so we are going to do the left-hand page first, because that's just typically how I start. So we have, let me make sure I grab my right pile. So I mixed the on-the-go paper with the textured paper for the black and whites. So this is, like, I do have a solid base here, and my white willow is going to cover up most of it. If you don't like a lot of layers on your scrapbook pages, you can gut the inside of this piece. And if you have any questions about that, you can ask and I will tell you. I don't have a problem with the double layers on the bottom, but it's pretty easy to do. But if you've not done it before, don't be intimidated by it. It's super easy. And if I need to, I could come back and just add like a quick video on here. Okay, so then, like I said, I have all my pieces cut and ready to go. So I mixed the splatter paper with the map paper. So this one, we're just going to kind of center it. There we go. So I'll add these 2 down first. Oh, and then we have to stop and do our stamping. And I have this bad feeling we are going to run out of adhesive. I was trying to determine if I was going to, but between all the adhesive on my desk, I think we'll be okay. Okay, so we've got the map paper and then our splatter paper. And I love the fact, right, that you could use this on like any sort of theme, this piece of paper. Okay, so then I did put these pretty pink pieces down the side, and we're going to dovetail them first. So the geotag piece is actually just cut on the diagonal. So I'm just going to snip off the end, just on the diagonal, and then on the bottom too. So I'm just trimming up from the corner, up a little bit. So we have a little diagonal cut, and then this piece I'm going to dovetail on the top and bottom. So I find it the easiest to find the middle and cut up to where you want to dovetail to, and then go in from the corner. That way I feel like I get closest to the middle of my piece of paper. And if you want them to be exactly the same, you can just fold over your piece of paper and copy it. There's lots of ways to dovetail, and everybody does it a little bit differently, right? You can fold your piece of paper in half and trim it that way. So now our top and our bottom match though. So, and this is the same piece of paper as that map paper. So just going to add that. And then my little skinny geotag piece of paper. And that's just kind of about 1/4 of an inch from the outside of that piece of paper. And then we have this piece to run across the bottom, or across the middle, sorry, not the bottom. And this is the back side of that super fun piece of paper with the 6, I think it is. There's some journaling cards, and then there's just some pieces that are decorative, right? Like the sign you could add your own title to, for example. So this one goes all the way across this piece of paper, or this layout, from one side to the other. And then we've got our skinny piece of the green textured paper that's got the suitcases on the back. I just have there. My seal just kind of is going off the edge, so I'm just going to fold it back so that I can line up my piece of paper. There we go. Okay, so now, right, we have one 6x4 photo. It goes about there, and then 2 3x4s. I'm going to add my photos on first, and then I will add my tags at the top. But you could put your title down first if you wanted. I just thought all the fun colors of Disney kind of went just perfect with this collection too. Okay, so now my tags. So I just, right, I picked random tags to go across my layout to kind of anchor my title. And just like everybody else, right, I added the adhesive sheet to the back of the black cardstock before I ran it through with my letters. And I kind of had some fun with the tags and made them go up and down so that they were kind of just a little bit wonky, not all in the same direction. And I just wanted to kind of cover where I knew I wanted to have my title. I did add the twine before we started because you guys don't need to watch me tie twine onto my tags. So that's kind of, I'm happy with that placement. So I'm going to add my adhesive now. So by laying them out, I know kind of the space that I want them to fill, so I could move them around if they weren't exactly, if I didn't think I had enough space or they went too far. So then we have this, and I just used a regular hole punch to punch my holes out of my tags. This one I did use the Stampin' Up this little punch, and I used it several times to do the rectangle, but you could also use an X-Acto knife if you wanted. Just be careful. Okay, and there's our pink one. This one. And if you don't want the ends of your tags to be like all over the place, you can tack them down either with like a little dot of glue or glue dot. So, but I'm okay until everything's finished. And if it's bothering me once they go in the page protector, then I can add just like a little tiny dot of glue. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do my title. And so like I said, I put the adhesive sheet on the back of my black cardstock. And so I can go backwards or forwards. You just want to make sure, like I know because I can see here, right? I've got lots of room for it. But you could always test your title. If you don't push these down really hard, you can move them around. Also at the end, if you just burnish them with your bone folder, then you get like a really good stick. So I'm just peeling it off, and normally it'll either leave the backing behind or it's the die cutting machines cut all the way through, but either way, it's very handy having the adhesive on the back. I just peel it off just like a sticker. I know you won't be able to see, but it's just a little bit hazy on, a little bit shiny on the back side there. I actually should have looked first to make sure that I actually put my letters in the order before I started pulling them off and placing them down, but I see now I did. Because not always do I do that. Sometimes, right, if I'm just cranking it through and I have two letters that are the same, or I'm trying to fit them in tight spaces, right, I'll put some upside down. So I should be careful. So, Miles of Smiles. We don't actually have stamping on this page, so it's not bad that I didn't do it. When we go to the next page, I will do my stamping beforehand. I thought I had stamping on this side too, but we don't. So that's okay. So yeah, don't forget you can squish your letters in upside down, sideways, all of the fun things so that you can get more use out of the piece of paper. And I'll just actually keep using this until it's all done. or all full, because then I just have like any black leftovers that I have adhesive sheets still on. I'll just put them in all together in like a envelope or like a plastic bag, and if I need something, then I can just pull it out, right? Or if I just have a small word, I'm not going to add it to a whole big sheet. I can just pull out of my little package of scraps. There we go. Okay, so now when I'm happy with it, I'll just take my bone folder and push them down so that I get some good contact with my papers underneath. There we go. Okay, so then we just need puffy stickers, my favorite. So we have a pink star up here, and we have a pink arrow up there. And then we have a yellow arrow. And a blue star. And a black arrow. There we go. So now, look, our left-hand page is done already. So I'll bring it back when we're finished with the right-hand page. Okay, so we start off the exact same way. And here, while we're here and we have some time, I'll just show you how to get the middle out of the cardstock just in case you want to. So this one has a really skinny border. So you could decide how much border you want around the outside. I'm going to give it a nice big border at like 1.5 inches. So then I've got my piece of paper and my trimmer and my guide out. Let me just move this stuff out of the way so you can actually see what's going on. There we go. Okay, so I've got it in at the 1.5 inch marker. This is my cutting blade. So I'm going down to 1.5 inches on the ruler, and I can push it down. And then I'm going to 1.5 inches from the bottom. And then I just rotate it around with those same measurements. And it doesn't have to be exact because it will be covered up anyway. And if you have to, like I'm going to have to just trim that up, because sometimes it's actually hard to do with all the lights on to see the measurements. There we go. And the last side. So you end up with just a frame. And it just takes out a little bit of the weight of your layout if you don't want the double layers of cardstock. So you can use this piece for cutting your title out, right? Add the adhesive sheet to the back of this. You could use it for photo mats on a different layout. All of those fun things. And we still have lots of room to adhere the white willow to. And you can't even tell. So, but when you do that, you want to make sure that you're only adding your adhesive around the outside, because it has to actually connect, right, with your framed piece. So I'm just keeping it around the outer edge. And then I can lay it down. Centered. There we go. So now our pieces for this one. We have this wavy piece of paper. We have the same piece that'll go across. We have the geotag, which we'll do on the diagonal again. We have the plaid, which will dovetail. We have, I cut this, this is that same, right, the journal boxes, but I cut it in half so that it's only 4 by 3. Then we have our matching piece of splatter paper. This is the same for going across. So same thing, right, we're going to dovetail this piece. So I'm cutting up and then in from each side. Okay, and then my little skinny piece of geotag, I'm going to cut just on the diagonal at the top and the bottom. Okay, so then everything just fits together like a puzzle. So, and you can go from outside in or inside out, it just depends. On which you prefer. Not upside down, Chris. So there are similar elements from the other side of the page to make the two layouts go together, but they're not exactly the same, right? But because when we curated the kit, or the supply list, we made sure everything went together nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to do my cross pieces. So I'm going to bring back in my left-hand page so that I know that my piece across lines up. So right, I'm just leveling my top and bottom. And then my green piece. There we go. And so let's add in our photos. And we're going to turn this into the interactive element in a second. So I'm going to add my photos down first. And my bottom one. Okay, so let's do our stamping. So I used 2 of the dies from the tags to go, right? And so I'm going to stamp on here. I did this beforehand, so because they have also twine on them, but I'll stamp them. Okay, and then the thing to pay attention to is, right, I have this tag that overlays the other ones underneath. And so I want to make sure that when I stamp my enjoy, I've got the round at the right end. And don't stamp it upside down. Okay, and then we have the green tag. And it says, life's detours are better with you. Okay, so this one is now ready to go on, just without it doesn't have the twine on it. But so for this one, I then added, right, the little puffy sticker around it because it fits perfectly. And then tied my twine on. So like I said, I have those ones with the twine already on them, ready to go. And we have our fun little interactive piece there. So we have our green one. We have this one. And this one. And then these go up here. Lucy says, oh, a bit late. Only seeing you were live. It doesn't matter. You guys can always watch the replays. And when this is finished streaming, I will upload it to YouTube, and then I will come back in and add the YouTube link on this page. And Tara joined us. Hey, Tara. And Kylie's here. And I know I love adhesive sheets. I use them like all the time. They are one of those things, though, that's funny that I put them in my office, and then each time I can't remember exactly where I put them. So I might have like open packages of adhesive sheets all over the place. But that's okay. There's always more to stick down. So, okay, and then the blue tag is going to go across, and then the green one we're going to add on dimensionals. Because I wanted it to kind of go over top. There we go. And then we'll adhere this one down. out here. And then we've got a pink strawberry slush puffy stamp sticker, or like postage stamp sticker there. And then we'll do some arrows here. And then a black one. And then a green one. And then we have 2 green stars. And then I added arrows down here. So we've got an orange one and a pink one and then a yellow one. Okay, and we still need this for the geotag after we put our little interactive element together. I'm just spacing them out a little bit better. Okay, so now we need to make our journaling box interactive so we can pull out this tag, right? And I'm going to pull out my Eeyore photo of just me and Eeyore. Okay, so the trick is you just need some dimension behind it, right? So it can slip in and out. So I'm going to use foam strips. You can also use like the edge of your dimensionals if you prefer. But these just make it kind of easy. And I'm going to take 2 because they're skinny, right? And you can see I've got lots of room. So I know I need this side to open, right? Where the piece of luggage is. So I'm going to put this around the other 3 sides. I always double check. Watch, then I still do it wrong sometimes. That's okay though. We can make most things work. Right? Mistakes are just excuse to embellishment or embellish. Add an embellishment. Okay, and we just have just a little bit extra. Okay, so, but before I glue it down, right, I'm going to double check that we're all good here, right, with my placement, and that my photo will go in and out. Yes, we're all good. So then, I can just pull the backing off. So, and like I said, if you don't want it to be like interactive, you don't want, like you can also put an extra photo here and then do hidden journaling on your tag behind. I'm just doing it the opposite way. But now I'm going to show you, because we have to, if somebody wants to see the photo, we have to let them see it. So we are going to alter the page protector. And so here we go. So this is my right-hand page, right? So I want to make sure that my, yeah, see, mistakes are always just an opportunity to embellish. So this I know needs to be, right, the binding needs to be on the left-hand side. Okay, so I've got everything in there. I'm just going to slide it in. Got my twine caught. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that my page is all the way to the bottom, right? And I can see here where I need to make my slit. So I'm just going to take my pen and draw myself a little dot on my page protector. Okay, so now I'm going to pull my page back out. You can cut it with your page still in there. I just typically take it out. And this is just a piece of like cardboard, stiff cardboard from, I actually think it was from something my son bought for gaming. And then I just have a Post-it note on here that I'll switch out. And the reason that I put this lined Post-it note on here is because it gives me another like ruler. So when I put it in here, I can line one of the lines from the Post-it note up with the dots. And I know, here, I'll lift it up so you can see. So you could see there's one dot there and one dot there, and now I have a straight line. So it only just reinforces me cutting straight. Then I do have a metal ruler and like an X-Acto knife. Okay, so like I said, I'll use the lines on the Post-it note. You can also use like some sort of self-healing mat or a cutting board. Just, this is something small, and I always just keep it in a cubby in my office, and I've been using it for a long time. So now I have the metal side down. I'm just going to cut from one dot to the other. And it doesn't actually take a lot. I just want to make sure. Yeah. There we go. So now I can take out my tag. And when I put my page in now, I can now hide my photo with Eeyore behind, and I need just a little bit more room. You can also use your scissors to cut if you open them up. Just, I'm better not with an open blade of my scissors, right? And so now you can't even tell that Eeyore is in there, but when somebody pulls it out, they can see the extra photo. Fun. Okay, so there we go, guys. That's crazy. This is my last layout, like I said, for the 90-day boot camp. So I hope you guys have thoroughly enjoyed it. I know 90 days can be a little bit daunting at the beginning. I'm going to show you my pages side by side now, though. So now, when they're in my album, they will sit like this, side by side. So whether you are watching live, you're watching on the replay, you're watching 6 months from now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If it's like something that seems very complicated, you might want to tell me where we were in the layout, just so that I have some sort of frame of reference. But yeah, I'm just going to flip the camera up. So like I said, it's been my pleasure to be part of the 90-day boot camp. I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as we have. I know it's been lots of fun and kind of super neat, right? That there's 4 different people with 4 different styles and 4 different ways to learn. Lucy says she's loved watching all the videos. It is. It's super fun. And even if you're just taking a little bit of inspiration from all of them and meshing it together, it's super fun. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. And now you can go and add like a hidden photo to your own layouts. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just drop them into the comments either on this video, which will stay here, right, for a month. And then, but like I said, we will upload the YouTube video also, so that if you're watching and you still have a question 3 months from now, as long as I know what you're talking about, I'll try and answer it. So thank you, and really thank you very much. So I hope you guys had as much fun as we did. Okay, bye guys.